Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Another Friday that we meet here at Horizon TV. Thank you so much for choosing Horizon TV today, the 18th day of October 2024. A very good morning to you and welcome to Horizon TV. My name is Zamzam Ahmed and this is the Muslim Insight, a show that brings to you weekly news recap as well as impactful conversation, airing to you every Friday at 8 a.m. in the morning. Let's get the headlines.
Whether you are a Jew, a Christian, a Muslim, you are not supposed to kill any human being.
Bloody massacre. Muslim leaders launch Gaza medical appeal calling on Kenyans to help people in Gaza.
Kwa sikia ukiingia kwa mosque utakosa majini kadhaa wa kadha pale.
31 new reverts. 31 people embrace Islam during Jamia Mosque Nairobi's 7th annual open day that brought together people of different faiths.
Afya ya mama, mzazi na mtoto wake mchanga kwangu ni muhimu sana.
Tackling maternal health. Kilifi County begins construction of 100 million Kenya shillings maternal and newborn unit to curb maternal and child deaths in the county.
Once again, thank you so much for keeping it at Horizon TV. My sign language interpreter is Mariam Jamaluddin. Now on to our top stories. 31 individuals from diverse backgrounds embraced Islam during Jamia Mosque Nairobi's 7th annual open day. The event, which drew hundreds of visitors from Nairobi, offered a welcoming space for people to learn about the Islam, engage in open dialogue and experience the warmth of Muslim hospitality. The open day event is part of an ongoing effort from the Jamia's Da'wah department to foster understanding and combat misconceptions about Islam. The event featured a variety of activities including mosque tours, interactive lectures on Islamic teachings and Q&A sessions with scholars.
One of the event highlights was the emotional moment when 27 attendees declared their Shahada, the Islamic testimony of faith, bearing witness that there is no God worthy of worship but Allah and Muhammad is the messenger of Allah.
Katika mambo ambayo inatupelekea sisi kuwa na program kama hii ya Open Day, kuwafungulia misikiti wasiokuwa Waislamu, wapate kuingia ndani, waone nyumba ya Allah na waone vile tunavyomwabudu Allah Jalla Jalalu. Tunajua kwamba Uislamu wapigwa vita na watu hupata ufahamu usiokuwa sawa kupitia mitandao na kupitia vyombo vya habari, na tukaonelea kama Waislamu tuna majukumu mbele ya Mwenyezi Mungu kuwafundisha Wakenya wenzetu Uislamu halisia ni gani na Uislamu uliokuwa safi, kwa sababu tutawajibu maswali yao kulingana na mafundisho ya Qur'ani na sunna za Bwana Mtume Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Jamia Mosque Nairobi Committee is a center for both worship and community outreach, with the open day being part of a larger initiative to engage with people of different faiths and backgrounds.
Tangu tuanzishe mpaka sasa inaonekana kwa watu wengi sasa wameanza kuzoea open day, na yale maswali ambayo yalikuwa sana kuhusiana na msikiti mnaweka nini na vitu kama hivyo, naona yamepungua. Maswali ambayo yako sasa ni maswali ya kutaka kujua Uislamu ni nini, tofauti ya Uislamu na wasiokuwa Waislamu, vitu kama hivyo. Lakini ile hofu ambayo ilikuwa kuhusu Waislamu na ile suspicion ambayo ilikuwa kuhusu Uislamu na misikiti, kwa sasa nikana kwamba imepungua pakubwa sana. Na
speaking to the Muslim Insight, Jamia Mosque Nairobi Imam Sheikh Jamaluddin Osman said the open day was a way of showing that Islam is a religion of peace and understanding, and provided a chance for people to ask questions, interact with Muslim and experience the beauty of Islam firsthand.
Wapate kutangamana na Waislamu, wapate kuuliza maswali kuhusiana na dini ya Kiislamu, wapate kuelezewa na wapate kufahamu Uislamu kwa njia iliyokuwa sahihi.
Colin, a US citizen who visited the mosque for the first time in her life, said she was amazed by the reception of Muslims, contrary to how Islam is perceived in the United States.
Coming from the US, I have all of these preconceptions about, Islam as an extremist religion, and you hear all these terrible things. But so far, since being here in Kenya, I've had just really wonderful experiences. Everyone's been super kind. And then today, being in the mosque, hearing the imam talk and answer all of the questions, and just being very open and very nice, it's been really wonderful.
Wasikia ukiingia kwa mosque utakosa majini kadhaa wa kadha pale. So in fact, coming here took me courage, because I was asking, what am I going to meet those genies that I'm usually told I hear about them? But as for now, I have experienced something about the mosque, that we are just but brothers and sisters.
Dennis Ombachi, a Kenyan Rugby Sevens player, said visiting the mosque has helped him open his mind and change his perception about Islam from what he has been hearing and reading.
This is my first time in the mosque. Maranga kwanza kuja kwa msikiti. I've learned a few, I've seen a lot, but actually I've learned quite a lot. Yeah, like history. I think the history we sort of consume outside this is written by someone else. So yeah, I think I also need to go and read for myself and make my own decisions as well.
The mosque management expressed their satisfaction by the turnout and the positive outcome of the open day. The open day is a way to help demystify any misconceptions about Islam.
Still on the open day, Gen Zs were among the visitors during Jamia Mosque Nairobi's 7th open day that provided a unique opportunity to learn about Islamic teachings, culture and history. The open day, which is organized by the Mosque's Dawah department, aimed to foster greater understanding of Islam. With lectures, interactive and engaging discussions led by scholars, attendees explored various aspects of the faith, broadening their perspectives about Islam. Let's take a look of their opinions.
Islam is not only for the Arabs, it's not only for the people who are born Muslims. The message of Islam is for the entirety of mankind, and we have a responsibility to spread the message to those whom it hasn't reached to.
Mimi naishi Tao, unaona? So nikiobserve wengine au wengine na Waislamu, there's a very huge difference between them. Like Islamu, wanapenda kusaidia.
What I've learned today, I've seen numerous things, which is generosity about it. Contrary to what is outside and what is inside, I've seen that everything is okay.
Something I didn't know is that you people have different sessions for men and ladies. Me, I thought you are combined all together.
For me, I feel like it's a strong religion, because these people usually get closer to their God like more times than we do. Although we say in our deen that we can pray in our hearts and vitu kama hizo, but in Islam they usually do it practically.
Do what you feel is right. No. If you feel you want to go this way, just go. Just feel what is right. Do what you feel unataka. Na faida yangu mwenyewe mimi ndio najua, cause kama nimefeel tu kuwa Muislamu, that's what I want.
Maana ya kuumbwa ni kumshukuru Mwenyezi Mungu na kumsifu na kumfanyia kazi, kukaa mbele yake na shughuli zake. Sasa nilifurahishwa sana na Waislamu na nikaona nijiunge nao.
This is my first time as a volunteer, and last time I used to come as a visitor. I used to bring friends over. This time I'm happy to be interacting with, the people who are interested in Islam, helping them out. It's really a fulfilling experience, I must say.
Ningeweza kuhimiza volunteer wenzangu ya kwamba jambo hilo ni jambo la busara na la kheri. Maana tunapowahimiza watu wengine kuhusu dini yetu, au tunapowakaribisha watu kuweza kujua kuhusu dini ya Kiislamu, ni jambo la kheri kwetu, tunapata thawabu. Kwa hivyo tusichoke kwa kukaribisha watu wengine.
MashaAllah. Now in other stories, the Muslim leaders in the country have called on Kenyans to support the people of Gaza who continue to be killed by the Israeli forces led by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Under the Voice of Palestine banner, the group, comprising a consortium of different organizations, called for support, saying thousands of people from Gaza are facing severe medical shortages as a result of continued Israeli bombardment.
The Voice of Palestine, a consortium of different organizations including Jamia Mosque Committee, Supreme Council of Kenya Muslims and National Muslim Leaders Forum, Council of Imams and Preachers of Kenya, Kenya Association of Muslim Medical Practitioners and several mosques around Nairobi, in a statement, called on Kenyans to respond to the plight of the people of Gaza.
As we launch this campaign, we call upon Kenyans from the diverse backgrounds to join the effort to support the medical needs of the people of Palestine. Support can be made through M-Pesa pay bill number 150770, account Gaza Medical.
Previously, the consortium raised over 50 million shillings to assist humanitarian efforts in Gaza.
We have collected almost 50 million Kenya shillings thus far from October through very many different initiatives. The awareness, the continued campaign to mobilize within the pay bills, awareness days, sale of merchandise, just a bunch of things that have been done, sustained slowly by Masajid, by the campaign itself, which now that amount has been directed to Gaza through different parties that we have worked and collaborated with. Because we all know the situation right now in Gaza is that it's very hard for aid to even get into Gaza. So a very deliberate strategy was to collaborate with people who had more reach within the area, and we are happy to say that alhamdulillah we have collaborated with Al Khair Foundation, because they have been operating in Gaza for a very long time. They were based there, they have a hospital, and so one of the very initial aids that we directed was through Al Khair Foundation.
Muslim leaders urged President William Ruto to call out Israel for its invasion of Gaza that has resulted in the massacre of over 42,000 people.
In accordance with the African Charter, the government should not relent in its efforts to support the people of Palestine towards achieving freedom. It is our call on the government of Kenya to stand for fairness and justice for the people of Palestine and use its influential role to push for an end of the genocide of the people of Palestine and see to it that their inalienable rights to exist and live in peace and harmony like other people around the world is attained.
Voice for Palestine's chairman Ahmed Sharif said the Israeli war on Gaza was not just a crisis, but a massacre of human dignity and a brutal assault on the very essence of life.
Whether you are a Jew, a Christian, a Muslim, you are not supposed to kill any human being. He can claim to be a chosen person or a chosen community. But one thing is clear, that we are all the children of God. Our message to Benjamin: you can kill all the children of God. You can kill the entire world. But one thing is for sure, you will meet our Lord and you will be answerable. We urge the Kenyan government, specifically our President, William Ruto, that all life is sacred. Enough of the killing.
The leaders led by Supreme Council of Kenya Muslims National Chairman Hassan Olenado said Kenya should work to ensure the peace and safety of the Palestinian people, just as it has played a key role in restoring peace in other countries.
Kenya is known for its role in fostering peace, and this was seen notably in South Sudan and other African countries where our country tirelessly worked to achieve peace and stability. Moreover, Kenya, like Palestine, has lived through a harrowing tale of colonial oppression, where thousands of Kenyans were forced to live in concentration camps and massacred for fighting for freedom.
A United Nations Commission of Inquiry has accused Israel of carrying out a concerted policy to destroy Gaza's healthcare system during its ongoing genocide in Gaza. The commission said Israeli attacks on Gaza's healthcare facilities and Israel's treatment of Palestinian detainees amounted to war crimes as well as the crime against humanity of extermination. Floating a UN Security Council resolution calling for an immediate ceasefire, Israel has continued with its brutal attack on Gaza. More than 42,000 people have since been killed by Israeli attacks, most of them women and children, and nearly 98,000 injured according to local health authorities. Israel also faces a genocide case at the International Court of Justice for its actions in Gaza. Salma Salim, The Muslim Insight.
Elsewhere in the coastal region, Kilifi County Governor Gideon Mung'aro has launched a 22-bed maternity wing that will also house 2 surgical theatres at the Malindi Sub-County Hospital, a project that is expected to cost 100 million Kenya shillings loaned to the county government by the government of Italy through the Italian Development Corporation. The move aims to reduce maternal and child deaths in the county.
According to the Kenya Demographic Health Survey of 2022, about 532 expectant mothers die of pregnancy-related complications out of every 100,000 live births in Kilifi County.
Kama mnavyojua, hospitali mingi, tukija hospitali mara nyingi unapata huduma zingine za upasuaji zinaendelea. Hivyo tunapoteza mama wengi kwa sababu akija anawekwa hapo anangoja mpaka mtu amalize kupasuliwa ndio mwingine awekwe. Kwa sasa ukiangalia hospitali zote, hata Kilifi, zile mpya tunajenga zote, tunaweka theater 2, ya wagonjwa wa kawaida na moja tu ya wamama wazazi, ili tupunguze mambo ya vifo vya wazazi.
Many factors have been attributed to this sorry state of affairs in the coastal county, with teenage pregnancies, limited access to quality maternal and newborn health services, as well as postpartum hemorrhage topping the list.
Afya ya mama mzazi na mtoto wake mchanga kwangu ni muhimu sana. Tumekuwa na shida. Nyinyi wa Kilifi mnajua. The maternal death tumekuwa nazo tukihesabu. Kwa hivyo tukiwa nayo hapa Malindi na pale Kilifi, tunajua wazazi wetu, mama zetu wataweza kusaidika pale pakubwa.
Mara nyingi wa mama hupoteza watoto kwa sababu wanazalia chini. Madaktari nao ni kidogo, vifaa vya kutumika pia huwa hakuna.
Deputy Italian Ambassador to Kenya, Lorenza Gambacorta, said the government will continue supporting the Kenyan government to provide better quality healthcare services, especially for women and children.
We really are trying to support the government plan to deliver better quality health services, especially for women and child in this case. So we pregnant women, they don't need to wait in the queue for a normal theater, but they will have a specialized place where to go, will be referred. And then of course with the ICU, this will increase the capacity of the hospital to treat faster.
Reporting for the Muslim Insight, my name is Mariam Sa.
Moving on to other news, the 7th edition of Changamka Kenya Shopping Festival will be held at the Kenyatta International Convention Center, KICC, from 5th to 9th November 2024. Speaking during a press briefing in Nairobi, the Principal Secretary, State Department of Industry in the Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry, Dr. Juma Mukhwana, called on Kenyans to take advantage of the Kenya Manufacturing Summit and Expo to get quality products as part of the Buy Kenya, Build Kenya initiative intended to boost the manufacturing sector in the country.
Europe was industrialized by the Europeans. America was industrialized by the Americans. Chinese have industrialized China. Indians have industrialized India. When we come to Africa, we have this idea that somebody else is going to do it for us. So we spend a lot of time looking for this person, the elusive person called investor, that must be looking different from us. So the people who have laid down Africa, the people who have laid down Kenya is the people in this room. Because we spend a lot of energy trying to think that you cannot do manufacturing. I want to encourage you. Tobias has been in this space for some time. I am sitting in this space. Let me tell you, if you take the 20 richest Kenyans, 18 of them are manufacturers. If you look at China alone, in 1 year, Kenyans buy from China 450 billion worth of goods. Our total import bill is 2.5 trillion. That is the equivalent of the Kenyan budget for 1 year. That's what we spend on imports. And remember, every time you buy those things from wherever you buy them from, you have exported jobs. You have exported money. You have exported prosperity. So what we are doing, you work with Stanbic, you make money, you export it. You work with the Ministry of Investments, you get your salary, you export it because you are buying other people's products. And then after that, we start saying our cost of living is very high. Yes, it must be high. There's no other language. How do you bring down the cost of living if all we do is drive our resources to support other people's economies? And so, really, the discussion about cost of living cannot start until we address the issue that we must consume what is made in Kenya.
And in business news, home appliance and consumer electronics manufacturer Vision Plus Kenya is setting up the first ever local plant for smart televisions and audio entertainment systems. The firm announced its investment in the 125 million Kenya shillings plant to expand its products range, which consists of 2 initial product lines, informed by the firm's strategic shift from importing to building locally designed appliances that include smart televisions, refrigerators, audio systems, wearables, and accessories targeting underserved and emerging populations. Managing Director Umesh Bujwani said the investment in the plant was the first phase of a major ambition to build a made-in-Kenya home appliance and consumer electronics range, even as it makes initial forays into the East African region. Principal Secretary for Trade in the Ministry of Trade and Industry, Alfred Kumbudo, said the local home appliance and consumer electronics manufacturing industry stands to benefit immensely from the recently negotiated trade agreement with the European Union and the one with the United Arab Emirates that is awaiting parliamentary approval for ratification.
We chose this direction with the benefit of local customer insight that showed us what Kenyans, especially the buying decision makers, look for in home appliances and consumer electronics. This localization of our research and marketing efforts is designed to establish a strong brand presence in the Eastern Africa region. We're also cognizant of the factors that make the current 300 billion Kenyan shilling home appliance market attractive for the business. These include Kenya having a larger young professional population with a rising sentiment and personal pride and attachment to authentic brands, value quality, style, and convenience in their homes. With the growing middle class, rapid urbanization, and increasing access to electricity, the country presents a unique and untapped market and opportunity for growth. Moreover, it is an evolving digital landscape with increasing internet penetration and mobile phone usage. This creates opportunities in e-commerce for home appliances. The digital shift is gradually changing how consumers research and purchase appliances.
Anything that is made in Kenya now is able to be sold in the European Union with 0 tariffs, and you can take as many as you want. Number 2 is that we are in the final stages of concluding a trade agreement with the United Arab Emirates, whereby we have an interest in taking a lot of products there. But one of the things that we are also negotiating with them is that people who are in the services sector, including services for manufacturing, are actually able to gain access into that market and have national treatment there.
Now that story brings us to the end of our first segment of the Muslim Insight. Prepare for second segment where we discuss, or rather do the Friday Bulletin Review with Sheikh Salim Charo. Stay tuned.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون.
Enyi mlioamini, munapoitwa kuhudhuria swala ya Ijumaa, fanyeni haraka kuikimbilia, muache biashara zenu, hilo ni bora ikiwa mwelewa.
Isikilizeni kwa umakinifu khutba ya Ijumaa
ili uzidi kujenga imani yako na kupata faida nyingi ya siku hii.
Coming to you every Friday from Jamia Mosque, Nairobi.
Live on Horizon TV.
Verse of the day.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
إن الذين يرمون المحصنات الغافلات المؤمنات لعنوا في الدنيا والآخرة ولهم عذاب عظيم. يوم تشهد عليهم ألسنتهم وأيديهم وأرجلهم بما كانوا يعملون. يومئذ يوفيهم الله دينهم الحق ويعلمون أن الله هو الحق المبين.
Uislamu ni dini yenye mpangilio ulio kamili na taratibu zake humpa fursa kila mja kuifahamu na kuelewa.
Muislamu yoyote lazima achukue jukumu la kuifahamu dini yake, kuanzia kwenye shahada, ashhadu, nakiri kwa moyo,
kisha usafi wa kimwili.
Hapo ndipo huanza safari ya kumwabudu Mola wake.
Usikose kujiunga nasi kila siku ya Jumamosi live kwenye kipindi Ufahamu Uislamu, ili ujifunze mengi usiyojua kutoka Horizon TV.
قال تعالى في محكم تنزيله بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
Ninasaha kutoka pwani.
هذا الدين قال الله قال الرسول قال الصحابة هم أولو العرفان. انتهى.
Ili kuongoza kwenye njia iliyonyoka.
Sikizeni hadithi hii ya Mtume alayhi salatu wasalam. Hakuna atakayeweza kumfungia mtu mlango ambaye Mwenyezi Mungu aliyemfungulia.
Kuimarisha imani yako.
Thabbit qulubana ala dinik wa ala ta'atik.
Ungana na mashekhi wetu kutoka pwani kwenye mimbar.
Mimbar zinamwakilisha Mtume sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Jumamosi na wakati saa 3 usiku katika Horizon TV, runinga uipendayo.
Tazama ukumbi wa fiqhi kwenye Horizon TV.
Halal, haram, sunna, wajib, makruh, mubah,
ili upate kujua ahkam za ibada kwenye Horizon TV.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون.
Enyi mlioamini, munapoitwa kuhudhuria swala ya Ijumaa, fanyeni haraka kuikimbilia, muache biashara zenu, hilo ni bora ikiwa mwelewa.
Isikilizeni kwa umakinifu khutba ya Ijumaa
ili uzidi kujenga imani yako na kupata faida nyingi ya siku hii.
Coming to you every Friday from Jamia Mosque, Nairobi.
Live on Horizon TV.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is 32 minutes past 8 a.m. Welcome back and thank you so much for choosing Horizon TV. This is our second segment whereby we are going to have a discussion, or rather a review of the Friday Bulletin. And in studio, I am joined by Sheikh Salim Charo.
Salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you doing this morning?
Alhamdulillah, I'm good. And you?
Jam.
Leo kuna.
Mashallah. Welcome. It's
Shukran.
Been a while since we had you here.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So we are having the Friday Bulletin review. And there are so many stories here, so many stories that we are going to have a discussion about, put some insights on. On the front page, we have hundreds attend Jamia Open Day to learn about Islam. Hundreds of Nairobi residents from various faiths gathered at the Jamia Mosque last Saturday, seeking to gain insight into Islam and observe how Muslims worship in this sacred space. We've seen, or we've heard so many people asking so many questions about Islam which are not true. Maybe what's your view about that one? We have the open day that is once in a year. What do you think about having these occasions, or rather this event, more time?
Okay, number one, I think they've changed. This time is it will be held twice a year, and I think it gets to get rid of misconception about Islam. Yeah, because most people, when they are passing by, they don't know what happens, and previously people used to have a lot of misconceptions and about Islam. So by opening doors to non-Muslims to come to engage with sheikhs and to see what is inside and see how we worship and also to understand what Islam is all about. It's a good gesture and it's a good way of, also another way of da'wah, because we've seen like up to 31 individuals converted or reverted to Islam. Yeah, so it's a good thing, and it also creates a kind of tolerance, religious tolerance, because they'll get to understand, what is all about and how people can coexist in the society now.
We can see that it's not only the non-Muslim, because as for me, I'll say that it was my first time being in the mosque. Maybe what do you think about other people, maybe the Muslim community? There are those who don't know. If I can recall, I asked you one time that we've seen that those people who have reverted, or those people who have converted to Islam, are the ones who are seeking more knowledge about Islam. And we've seen that us who are born Muslims, we don't find that time to seek knowledge about Islam.
Yeah, what happens is that those who are born Muslims, most of them, it's part of the family. They've inherited it from the family, so it's like a tradition to them. So and whatever, even though parents can make efforts to make sure that their children learn and they get to practice Islam, but there are these people who get to a point where they really want to know the truth. And once they establish that this is the truth, they get deeper and deeper, or they get further to understand the religion. Yes.
Okay. Maybe we switch gears. to other stories. On the same page, on the first page, you can see that Hajj mission urges pilgrims to adhere to guidelines. And if I can recall, last week probably, we had the Kenya National, the chairman, the National Chairman, Supreme Council of Kenya, said that the authority in Saudi Arabia will take care of the expenses, or rather the accommodation and something like that. What do you think about that?
Okay. I think in the recent years, there have been a lot of changes that have been made by the authorities in Saudi Arabia when it comes to Hajj and Umrah. And even though there are some positive part of it, because for we Kenyans, I think the quota has been from 6,000 to 10,000, which is a good thing. But also there are some restrictions, because they want, like 20% of the expenses to be paid upfront. And, there are some measures that which they have brought in. And last year, there was a lot of confusion, even for the Hajj and Umrah agencies, were, at crossroads. They did not know what to do. So there are a lot of confusion, even though we had the actual number, the 3,300 pilgrims from Kenya, but there was a lot of confusion, and people wouldn't understand what was going on. But at least this communication has come early enough, which will be required for the agencies also to make preparations prior, and also for the pilgrims, for anyone who have the intention of performing Hajj this year, the Islamic calendar, inshallah, to have the prior preparation, and they need to pay at least 20%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Other than paying 20% of their expenses, maybe what are the other requirements the intended person who wants to perform Hajj is supposed to do?
Okay, some of the arrangement is that they need to register with those agencies, number one, and there was an issue, and I don't know, it's not yet also, it has not been addressed this time, because they should be the locals or the citizens of that country. So no one can apply for Hajj if he's a citizen of another country. And I think just to mention, and the rest is up to maybe the agency to come and get people, to understand. Yeah.
So these are challenges that the pilgrims normally face when they perform their Hajj.
Yeah, exactly.
And I can see it is written here that advised, the potential pilgrims are advised to strictly deal with approved agents for 2025 Hajj.
In fact, last year I had a case where someone, they had booked for Hajj, and the person, disappeared. So there are brokers, and there are people who are not approved, Kenya Muslims. And I think this also a call to SUPKEM and Kenya Hajj Mission to make sure at least they publicize the authorized agencies, so that Muslims may not, fall prey to those who are not registered. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's really amazing. What if this thing even happened this year? What will they do?
Yes. What?
Just in case this thing happened.
Yeah.
Even in the coming Hajj session?
I think it's up also, SUPKEM have a responsibility to make sure they take care, the regulations, are well put, and the preparations are there, because reading at the article, you find that, there is a way they are trying to also pull out, and they're leaving up the responsibility to the agencies that they should, make all the, arrangements when it comes to accommodation, meals and so on, tents in the mashair and so on. So it's good that they, all these preparations, they be done prior, that may that confusion and challenges, especially for the pilgrims.
It's the tendency of I have somebody who knows somebody.
Yeah, exactly. No, okay. I have someone cheaper.
I have someone cheaper.
Yes.
Okay, I want us to switch again to other stories. You can see that Gaza. Muslim organizations launch medical campaign for Gaza.
Yeah, this was also held last week, and this time this campaign is intended to support the the injured in Gaza, because you looking at the situation there is so devastating, and there are a lot of injuries other than the the fatalities, but there are people who are going to live with this for the rest of their lives. They've been injured, and there are a lot of restriction when it comes to medical supplies, and I think other than just providing the humanitarian, foodstuffs and so on and so forth, but I think what is more important is to make sure that those who survived, at least they are also taken care of in terms of medical. And that's why, as Voices for Palestine decided to come up with a medical appeal to make sure, and they're intending to raise at least $500,000 US. That's close to 64 million Kenya shillings. And this amount that has also been raised because in the first phase, I know for organizations, Al Khair has raised at least 50 million Kenya shillings, and Jamia Mosque close to 30 million Kenya shillings. That's around 80 million Kenya shillings. So 5 million Kenya shillings is something that is achievable, and it is not far-fetched. And since we've been able in the first phase, and we've been able to raise such, so I think so. And food is a basic need for for human being, but you will eat and you will still need it tomorrow. But when it comes to medical, it's something, it's a lifetime thing, and I think it's more important even when we look at that from this angle. Okay,
if I may ask, rumors says that aid cannot reach those people. How do this aid reach those people?
I don't know if I... Okay, but what is happening, and it's unfortunate that, the Israeli regime is making efforts to make sure that no aid is reaching, Gaza. So they've tried to put a blockade and so on and so forth. But there are so many ways. So they close one door and Allah opens many other. When we started, at least we were relying on Al Khair Foundation. At least they have a good connection, and they will use Egypt, pass through there. And also they have another one in Jordan also, and there are other organizations that we are relying on, and also we're also using UN agencies also to make sure that this aid is reaching people in Gaza, and whatever came from Kenya has been publicized. There are videos of, the other time we had Muslims from Marsabit, Saku, they raised like 2 million for the solar panels. It reached them. Al Khair has been doing over and over, and Jamia Mosque, working with that Jamia Mosque, I mean Voices of Palestine. This is a consortium of Muslim organizations, and it has been reaching through various agencies. We've used at some point Al Khair Foundation. We've used one from South Africa, Allah Mustaan. We've used a number of agencies. So when they are unable to supply the aid, so we look for alternative. And this time we are working with medics, and at least medics, they have a way of also making sure that these services reach those in need in Gaza.
MashaAllah. Now, people to inform the public about ways, or rather there is a way of helping these people,
yes.
the Palestinians,
yes.
and to see how they can help them. Maybe how do they help them in terms of maybe contributing?
Number one, you use Jamia Mosque 150. That's pay bill 150-770,
okay.
and then account you write Gaza Medical.
So the Voices for Palestine is under Jamia.
Yeah, it's a
It's a consortium.
A consortium of Muslim organizations.
Okay, mashallah.
Yeah, so it's 150-770, and then you write Gaza Medical. So currently we've been working with Al Imdad from South Africa.
Al Imdad.
Yeah. Yes, Al Imdad. Yeah.
Mashallah, that is really amazing, because I can see that complaints are that the Kenyan government is helping the other countries, not helping the Gaza.
At least they've made efforts in the conflict in Southern Sudan. You know, they've made statements, and also we have, you know, a mediator. I think Kalonzo Musyoka is one of the mediators in Southern Sudan, and also in Sudan. I think we had Uhuru Kenyatta the other time in that conflict, but they've not made a stance when it comes to, you know, what is happening in Gaza. You know, they've just chosen a middle ground, and they really need to, you know, to make a stand. It's important because whatever is happening, we faced it as a country. You know, when Mau Maus were fighting for liberation of this country, you know, this is what we went through, you know, as a country. So, and if we are not going to condemn, we really don't know what will happen tomorrow. So, you know, some of the proposals were that, you know, the Israeli state was to be brought here in Kenya, either in Kenya or in Uganda. Okay. So I think this is what maybe we would have been going through as a country. So I think we really need to speak out loudly and condemn whatever is happening. Okay. Yes.
Maybe to impose a question to my viewers back at home or wherever they are watching me, what are you doing to help those people in Gaza? Those people are really in pain right now. What are you doing? We have been told that there is a campaign going on. The Voices for Palestine is really helping those people. But it's through you that they are going to support the Palestinian people. Let's move on to another story. You can see on page 7 we have the camp calls for Sharia compliant medical scheme.
Okay, I think we also have merchandise that are sold here at Jamia Mosque and Vriav's Mosque.
Okay.
So you see hoods, you know, bands, written. They have the Gaza theme and Palestine. So you buy them, they reach Voices for Palestine as well. Yeah, and yeah, also that's also one way that you are raising their help. In regards to the Sharia compliant medical scheme, I think is something we've been trying as a Muslim community in the previous NHIF. We really had discussions on how they should consider the Sharia compliant, but yet, and now we have the new one, the SHA, Social Health Authority, but still consideration. But it's important that the government that it puts it into consideration. And what is really happening, I think, my concern is the rush that is being put in these things, because we've seen a lot of things being changed. We have a lot of transitions. In this and previous regime, we've seen the transition of 844 to CBC, and all this, it was put in a rush. And until now, people, even teachers themselves, those in the education sector, they are still confused. They don't know what to do. And currently, we are also now experiencing this. We've seen patients also suffering, especially those who are receiving dialysis, because the defunct NHIF is not functional, and now the SHA has not been able to capture their details. You know, this is a bit of challenges that patients are also, you know, going through. But it's important that government puts into consideration that there is Muslim community, and our things are also done according to Sharia.
Okay. Other than that, people are really confused. It's switching from NHIF to SHIF. But there is something called SHA, there is SHIF. This is something that is really making people confused. We can see that SHA is the Social Health Authority, and SHIF is that I don't know. SHIF is under SHA. So SHA is divided into 3. And SHIF is one of them. Maybe talking about 2.75% cut of your income. How do you feel?
You know, it's you know, the common mwananchi is carrying this burden, because the other time you remember the housing levy. I think it's 2.5 that is being deducted. 1.5. 1.5. Yeah. And now we have 2.6.
2.75.
2.75. Yeah. You know, can you look at these deductions, and you know there is no increment in salaries, and look at the price of commodities. You know it's putting the burden on the common mwananchi, and also on the other hand, can we also look at the benefits? Do we have any benefits that we are going to benefit in now the newly, the SHA or SHIF, what are the benefits there? So even though they are trying to say that this is preventive, than, NHIF was more curative, but what are the benefits? Why should I be deducted that large amount of money? And what are the benefits that I'm going to get? You know, these are some of the things that needs also to be put into consideration. And there are other concerns also, because people have already now been moved to the new medical scheme.
But they're supposed to register.
They're supposed to register, and yet they have the data of the other one, and people who are very active contributing to it. So what happens? Talking of medical facilities, hospital health facilities, there are dues that government is yet to pay them. And, there are some controversies, the government need to pay them like $500 million. They're saying, no, it's not $500 million, it's 70 million, and stuff, and all this. So I think it's a lot of chaos, and before we settle, patients will have suffered a lot.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe if I say this, SHA has 3, right?
Yes. Yes.
We have the SHIF, we have the Primary Health Care Fund, and the Emergency, Chronic and Critical Illness Fund. Let's talk about the Emergency, Chronic and Critical Illness. Do we have facilities in our hospitals in Kenya? Why do people go outside to seek medical attention?
And that's very unfortunate, because looking at this scheme, there is allocation of money, and rather than concentrating on prevention, I think the government would have also set aside time to come up with new facilities, and try to improve the existing one, to have better facilities for treatment. Because even when we talk of people getting their medical treatment outside the country, that's cost a lot. And that is well illustrated, because I assume in your WhatsApp you must have been added to a WhatsApp group where there is need of medical appeal. Someone needing, and a lot of what we see from statuses of people. So I think the government should be working more on how they should help its citizen, rather than on how they'll be making money. All these deductions. Are we really going to realize the universal health coverage? With this with this kind of things happening, and I really think, they do have experts, they have professions, but the calculation, their mindset is not thinking of the common mwananchi. But can you think of that person who is, a farmer in the village? Can they think of that mama mboga they used to talk of? How much do they make?
Okay. And, complaints. That there are complaints that leave alone the facilities in the hospitals. is SHA really registered in all the hospitals in the country?
Most health facilities are yet to be registered. Was in an engagement where we had the PS himself, and most medical facilities are yet to be registered in the portal. So, and you know, a lot of technicalities. So I think even the rollout was not even well planned. So even though they have promises, because you know, all medical facilities need to be registered by 15th of November, but you know, it is slow. It is taking, you know, it's taking off very slowly, because there are people who are going to miss out these services, and that's part of the concerns. Yeah.
Okay, moving on to matters of security. Muslim leaders urge government to bolster security in Tana River amid deadly clashes. How or what's the state of security in the country?
That's also very unfortunate, because that's one of the counties, counties that we consider it's a Muslim majority county, and it will be very unfortunate when we have people, you know, having conflict, you know, killing one another in that, you know, in the manner that they are doing it. And the reason also is another thing. So I think as Muslims, we know we've been asked in the Quran to make sure that we look for ways to make sulh. And also the other thing is it's you know, an element of political in such, because you know, when we bring in tribalism, when we bring in, you know, politics in such, and we get to a point where we are neighbors, you know, we are neighbors, and you see one another as an enemy, that you get to a point where you can come and kill that person. You know, that's one of the worst things a Muslim could think of, and get to a point where you would go to a point where you would harm a fellow Muslim. And it's in the books that it's you know, when you get to such point, the both will go to the hellfire. Yeah, because he said when two Muslims, you know, stand, you know, face each other
to fight.
You know, so the one who kills will go to the hell, and the one who was killed will go to the hellfire. The Prophet was asked, okay, this one has been, we understand the killer will go to the hellfire, but what about the one who is killed? You know, he said even he was keen that if we have gotten an opportunity, he would also have the did not get that opportunity.
I know we have limited time, only a few seconds. Maybe briefly, like, tell us the situation in Kenya right now, as far as you've talked about the insecurity issues, talk about the health, we've talked about the health issues, the leadership.
So I think, let me call it state of the nation. Not an address, but as a country, I don't think we are headed in the right direction. Because, number one, corruption. Now we are talking of impeachment of the deputy president on grounds that I wouldn't say that he's clean, but how many more are, you know, with the same, you know, counts. Same characters, you know. So we are talking of now we don't have an airport. Also we are talking of SHA. And look at the clashes in Tana River. So we are more so focused on politics than what will benefit the common mwananchi, which is so unfortunate. And I think the leadership of this country needs to, you know, get back to, you know, to what will benefit the common mwananchi, because all these politics, the sideshows, and so on and so forth is not going to help anyone. And they are buying time so that in 2027, either they are seeking re-election and so on and so forth. But nothing has been done to the common mwananchi, and it's very unfortunate.
I wish we had more time to discuss about this. Thank you so much for sparing your time, coming here, put some insight on the Friday Bulletin. Back to you, so those who are viewing this, there are so much stories on this Friday Bulletin. Maybe you could at least get yourself a copy, be on the know of what is going on in the country. Until next Friday, same place, same time, my name is Zamzam Ahmed. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.